Could some big moves be on the horizon for the Green Bay Packers? That's what we're talking about on today's show. And then on the back half, we're going to talk about some easy steps to increase their cap space, some easy steps to get to $100 million, which might help them make some big moves in the upcoming free agency. Welcome into the show. My name is Joey Petersen. You're watching the Packers Report, and I need you guys' help, okay? Because we are almost to 1.5 thousand subscribers. Over the last 4 weeks, we've grown by 314%. It's been a massive last month, thanks to you all. We're currently at 1,397 subs, 103 away from 1,500. Need your guys' help to get me there. So if you haven't already and you love daily content on the Green Bay Packers, make sure you guys hit that sub button. Let's give you a little rundown on the salary cap situation for Green Bay before we dive into any numbers. So the current Spotrac projection has them sitting at 14th in the National Football League with $44.56 million in cap space. Now, recently, as of last week, the 2025 NFL salary cap is projected to jump to $277 or $281 million. And what needs to change, in my opinion, the Packers, they made a splash in free agency last year with Jacobs and Xavier McKinney, and that proves that being aggressive in free agency, something that this team hasn't done a ton in the last 5 to 10 years, but last year proved that that is something that works. And I think after this latest Super Bowl, looking back at what Philadelphia did last year in 2024 through free agency, I think what that should do is just spur this team and other teams in the National Football League on to do more, make more big moves, and take bigger chances. This is who the Eagles added in 2024. Saquon Barkley, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Brandon Graham, Zach Bond, and 6 other players. And those 4 right there on screen, they contributed so heavily in that playoff run. They contributed so heavily in that regular season success. And the Eagles had a great team in 2023, but they said, you know what? We can get better. And I'm not asking Goody to be Howie, okay? Howie is going to just be himself. No one is going to do what Howie does, okay? He's aggressive. He makes trades. He makes free agent signings. He's never settled. I'm not asking Goody to do that because that's not who he is. What I am asking him to do is just do what you did last year. Go out, make some big name free agent signings, help this team compete a little bit more in 2025. So before we get into the cap space number and how this team gets to $100 million, shout it out for me. Name a move you want the Packers to make in the offseason. It can be a trade, it could be a free agency signing, it can be a cut, it could be a draft pick. Whatever you want, let me know in the comments section. So the path to $100 million, in my opinion, starts with trading Jaire Alexander post June 1st. Now, if you love Jaire, don't go anywhere. Don't click off this video. Don't get mad. I think it makes a lot of sense because you can save a lot of money. This would be the biggest money-saving move they could make that's realistic, in my opinion. Of course, if they cut or traded Jordan Love, they'd save more money, but that one's not going to happen. Neither do I think it should happen. And why I say off the top, they're going to do it post June 1st because they'd save $17 million in 2025 and $19 million in 2026. And whatever happens with Jaire Alexander, I think we can all assume it's going to happen after June 1st because the difference of $11 million from pre-June 1st to post-June 1st, that's a lot of money. And the reason I say trade and not just cut is because I believe there still will be some suitors for Jaire Alexander. Now, his contract makes that a little bit more difficult, but that team could also restructure his deal, change around his contract, possibly even sign him to extension to help that cap hit in 2025 a little bit better. And some teams I think will be interested is the Baltimore Ravens, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay, I think Baltimore at the top is the number one suitor for Jaire Alexander. Okay, he's got that relationship with Lamar Jackson. They believe they're only a cornerback away from competing for Super Bowls, and so if they can get him via trade, or heck, even if Green Bay ends up cutting him and still saving that $17 million, I think they're a team that would sign him in a heartbeat. You make the call. What would you do with Jaire Alexander? You let me know in the comment section down below. Play Goody for me just for a second by typing T for trade or typing C for cut. My next two examples of how to get to $100 million, they're going to be restructures, okay? And if you're like me, restructures at times can be a little bit confusing. So Paul Brettel actually explained it very well. He said, a very rudimentary example would be if a player has $10 million base salary with 3 years left in his deal, the team could take $6 million of that and convert it to a signing bonus, allowing them to push $2 million to 2026, $2 million to 2027, with $2 million staying behind in the current 2025 year. Okay, so a lot of times people say, just restructure this guy, just restructure that guy. You don't really know what it means. I hope that enlightened it a little bit for you guys, because we're going to start with restructuring Rashan Gary, and you could see immediate cap savings if you make this meal, okay, or if you make this move. In 2025, you'd save $10.19 million, and in 2026, you'd save $8.74 million. And I really love Rashan Gary. Okay, I do, but I think I'd be lying to you and everybody else if I told you that I'm incredibly happy with his production this past year. And that's why I don't think extending him is the answer. I think I'm still kind of holding out, waiting to see what this next year lies for him. But I do think restructuring his contract, saving $10 million just with a simple restructure is very easy and would be very, very beneficial to Green Bay. Coming up, I got 3 more moves I want the Packers to make in order to get to $100 million. But before I let you know any of those 3 moves, I need you to do something for me, and that's hit that thumbs up button. Of course, only if you want the Packers to make a big move this upcoming offseason. But if you're like me and want a splash in 2025, let me know by hitting that thumbs up button. Number 3, another restructure, like I said, this time with the quarterback, Mr. Jordan Love. And Jordan Love's contract was one that, to a lot of people across the league and across the world, came a little bit by surprise last year when he signed a 4-year, $220 million deal on July 26th. But I think what this front office was doing, what this management was doing, was betting on him that he was going to have a really good this year, a really good year next year, and they were going to get ahead of it and get him a little bit cheaper of what they believed they could in a year or 2. And if you restructure his deal, you'd save about $9 million in 2025, $7.75 million in 2026. And I believe that's worth it. I believe that's smart to do because I'm still a believer in Jordan Love. Okay, I know his 2024 year was not what everybody expected, was not what everybody really wanted. He was dealing with injury, a lot of that. But also, if you take a little bit of a deeper look into it, the drop rate for his passes was 7.1%. Jared Goff's was 2.1%. Jalen Hurts' was 1.8%. The league's average was 4.7%. Okay, so I know he has his warts. I know he has his things that a lot of people are upset about and don't love about him. But I think it's also ridiculous for us to ignore these numbers. Okay, I think it's easy to admit that he might not be getting the best help or the help that he needs in that wide receiver position. Okay, I believe in him. Do you believe in him? Let me know in the comment section down below. Give me a simple yes or no. Do you believe in Jordan Love? Give me your answer. Number 4, we're done with the restructures. We're going to round this out with a couple of extensions, and we start with safety Xavier McKinney. And when you look at the year he had last year, this one comes in no surprise. 88 tackles, 11 pass breakups, 8 interceptions, and a coverage grade of 90.0, which was 3rd best among 170 safeties across the National Football League. So not only do I want to extend him to keep him on this team for longer, but also it saves you $8.6 million in 2025 and $9.5 million in 2026, okay? I think that he was the star of this defense in 2024, and I think he's got a chance to continue to be the star of this defense this next year in 2025 just because of how special he is. And when you have special players on your defense, in your secondary, what you do is you extend them, you keep them on your team. Speaking of keeping guys on the team, let's talk about Elgton Jenkins, the left guard. I think extension is the right answer for how to deal with his contract going into 2025. And let's just talk about it. Let's just be honest. I think Jenkins had a great season, and I think you have to think past the Philadelphia game because that's all that's in everybody's mind. Okay, is, man, he really got bullied from time to time in that game against Philadelphia. It's Philly, guys. Everybody got bullied against Philly in the playoffs, okay? There's only so much you can do with a defensive front as spectacular as theirs was. But, guys, for the rest of the season, for the entirety of it before that game, he had a really, really solid year, in my opinion, okay? It wasn't anything that was like, okay, he's a top 5 guard, but it was good enough, okay? And if you extend him, you save $8.82 million in 2025 and $14.23 in 2026. I think this move would be a no-brainer. Keep your offensive line consistent. When you have a really good quarterback, that's what you want to do up front, is keep those consistent guys in that group. And if the Packers do this, if they do all 5 moves that I'm suggesting, they turn $44.56 million into $98.23 million. We're going to go ahead and round up and say that's $100 million in savings. You're welcome, Brian Gutekunst, for making all these moves and letting you know what to do. You don't even have to do the research. And with that money, there's a lot of targets that I think the Green Bay Packers should go after in free agency. Okay, Josh Sweat, 3 years, $18 million. Khalil Mack, 2 years, $22 million. DJ Reed, Xavier Ward, 2 great cornerbacks. You get them each for 3 years, around $14.5 million. I would love to see 2 of these players on this team come 2025. I think they can make a massive difference. And if you have $100 million in cap space, makes doing that a lot easier. Make sure you guys hit that sub button for me. I really do appreciate all the love you guys have been showing me, all of the growth that we've had over the last 4 weeks. It's been because of you guys. Thanks so much for watching today's video. If you guys agree, let me know in the comment section down below. And if you guys have a move that you think the Packers should make to save some money, also let me know in the comment section. I'm Joey Petersen. You've been watching the Packers Report. We'll see you next time.